Hello and welcome back. In this exercise, we're going to be creating a compound interest calculator in Python. Alright, for those of you that doesn't know, interest is the price that you pay to borrow money or the return earned on saving and investment. So for this program, we're going to be needing three basic variables, which are the principal, rate, and time. The principal is going to be the amount that you invest. Let's say you are investing or saving. And the rate is going to be the percentage, the interest rate that you're going to be getting. And then the time is going to be the time in which you receive that interest after the time elapses. So let's go ahead and now start by creating those three variables. Let's say we have principal and set it to 0. Rate, we're going to set it to 0 as well. And time, we're going to set it to 0. And then after that, let's go ahead and now start prompting the user to enter the principal, and we're going to do that within a while loop. And we're going to say while principal is less than or equals to 0. We're then going to go ahead and prompt our user. Let's say principal is equals to, we're going to typecast our input value to float input, and then our prompt should be enter the principal. Alright, should be principal amount. Alright, this should be our first prompt. So basically, the idea behind putting our prompt within the while loop is we wanted to continuously execute our prompt as long as our principal is less than or equals to 0. So basically, we do not want to deal with 0 or negative principals. So that's why we're saying as long as the principal is less than or equals to 0, it should continue prompt the user until he passes something greater than 0. So this is basically why we put our prompt within our while loop. So now after that, we're going to go ahead and check for something again. And we're going to go ahead and say if principal is less than or equals to 0, we should go ahead and print something like principal amount can't be less than or equal to 0. So let's go ahead and run our script. Check this part, enter the principal amount. Let's say 0 and hit enter. As you can see, our validation here really works. Right here it says principal amount can be less than or equals to 0. And as you can see right here, it's asking us to enter the principal amount again. So let's go ahead and say -1. As you can see, we get principal amount can't be less than or equals to 0. So friend, this is basically the idea of putting our prompt inside our while loop right here. So it's going to continue to ask our user to enter the principal amount until the user enters something greater than 0. Alright, so now let's go ahead and enter a number greater than 0. So let's say 10. As you can see, it exists because now our principal is greater than 0. Alright, so now let's go ahead and continue with the rest. Now we are done with the principal aspect. We're going to go ahead and copy this line of code. Copy, come down below here, paste it, and we're going to go ahead and do exact same thing for the rate. Copy this, paste this right here. While rate is less than or equals to 0, let's go ahead and paste this. Rate is going to be equals to our prompt here that says enter the interest rate. So let's go ahead and say interest rate amount. Okay, enter the interest rate amount, and right here it's going to be interest rate amount can't be less than or equals to 0. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for our time. Copy, come down below here, paste it, and then for the time, let's go ahead and copy this, paste this right here. While our time is less than or equals to 0, let's go ahead and change our prompt variable, and our prompt is going to be enter the time in years. Something like this. Alright, enter the time in years, and then right here should be time can be less than or equals to 0. Alright, so now let's go ahead and print everything. Let's say print principal, and let's come down here and say print rate, print time, and let's confirm our data. Let's go ahead and run our script. enter the principal amount. We're going to go ahead and say 200. Interest rate, let's say 0 to check our validation. Alright, as you can see, it asks us to enter the rate, meaning that our rate cannot be less than or equals to 0, but we're supposed to be getting our prompt. So let's go ahead and see why we're not getting our prompt for rate. Alright, this is why. Let's go ahead and copy this, paste this right here. Alright, same thing with the time. Change this validation for if time is less than or equals to 0, time can be less than or equals to 0. Alright, now let's go ahead and run our script. Once again, stop that, run it again. Now let's go ahead and say enter the principal amount. Let's say 300 or 3000. Enter the rate. Let's enter 0 and hit enter. As you can see, the interest rate amount can be less than or equals to 0. So let's go ahead and now say our interest rate should be 10. And now it says enter the time in years. So let's go ahead and now insert a negative number or 0. So let's say -2. As you can see, time can be less than or equals to 0. So we're going to go ahead and say the time should be 2 years. And now if we hit enter, we're going to have all of our data, the principal, the rate, and the time. Alright, so let me actually go ahead and typecast our time to integer, not float. So right here, I'm going to change it to integer because I don't want it to have that decimal point right here. Our year should be an integer. Alright, now that we have all of the data that we need in order to make the calculation, let's go ahead and now calculate the total interest rate. So let's come over here to our script. Let's minimize this and get rid of this. And then we're going to go ahead and say our total is going to be equals to, our formula to calculate our interest rate is going to be principal times, let me actually open a bracket, 1 plus rate divided by 100. And right here, all of this will be power time. So I'm going to go ahead and use the built-in pow method within our Python, which is this method right here, pow. And as you can see, it basically accepts 2 to 3 arguments, the base and the exponent, and it also accepts a third parameter called mod. But right here, we're going to be dealing only with the base and the exponent because we just want to raise this to the power of our time. So let's go ahead and now open our parentheses and then cut our expression right here, cut it, paste this right here, separate that with comma, and we're going to say to the power of our time right here. Copy this, paste this right here, and now after calculating our total, we're then going to go ahead and print our compound interest. So let's go ahead and say print. We're going to go ahead and use f-string actually and say your balance after placeholder. We're going to pass our time space, and then we're going to go ahead and say yeah or yes, add a unit of currency, placeholder, and our total right here. Let's go ahead and copy this, paste this right here. Alright, now let's go ahead and test our program. Alright, enter the principal amount. Let's say the amount we wanted to invest is $200 and enter the rate. Let's say 23.4 and hit enter. Enter the time in years, so let's say for 3 years. Alright, now hit enter. Your balance after 3 years is going to be $3,758.161808. So let's go ahead and actually run our result here to 2 decimal fraction using one of the modifiers right here. So let's come over here and said we wanted to use 2f to round our total into 2 decimal fraction. So let's go ahead and now run our script once again. Let's actually go ahead and add a unit of currency right here. Enter the principal amount, something like this. All right, enter the interest rate and add a unit of currency right here. Enter the time in years. Okay, that's totally fine. Now let's go ahead and run our script once again. Stop and run. All right, now let's go ahead and say our principal amount is going to be 2,500 USD and our rate is going to be 23.2%. And our time in years is going to be, let's say, 5 years. Now let's go ahead and hit enter. Your balance after 5 years is $7,095.16 $67. Alright, this should actually be a percentage, not a dollar sign. So interest rate should be in percent, like so. And now let's go ahead and run our script once again. Principal amount 400, interest rate, let's say 24, and the time in years, let's say 1 year. You enter your balance after 1 year is $496.00. Alright, so friend, that's all about creating a compound interest calculator in Python. So I hope you enjoyed the exercise and that you took away something from it, and I will see you in the next one.